Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Auto Rhythm Fantasy Studios. I'm your host, Jamie, and I got my co-host on the other side, Mr. Eli Wannabe Appletop with his short sleeves over there. But welcome in, everybody.
Yeah.
It is a lovely Wednesday, chilly night over here. I'm not happy about it one bit at all. It's fucking cold over here. It is. I don't know. I think, anybody wanna help me invest in a new furnace? Because I think, my furnace is not keeping up with all this coldness.
I was over hump day, Wednesday. We're back again. Tag team back again. Oh, Jared, let's go. Let's go, baby.
Let's
I
go.
was over at Jay's place a couple nights ago and his furnace was giving him issues. So yeah, we'll
Mhm.
start we'll do a GoFundMe, just in case. Can't have
Uh,
there won't be any content if his shit freezes up. So
uh.
the cutoff is hot. Thanks, big boy.
Uh, oh, no, I mean,
Oh,
it's chilly over here. I mean, it's only like 5 degrees, but, with the wind over here, I had actually earlier, I had to go out, get some gas, and I had to put some air in my tires, stuff like that, and I was like, "God damn, it was cold." I was all bundled up, but, I mean, I was chilly, though. But,
I
yeah,
got that,
guys.
Jay. I got that. I got that Viking blood, and I was cold too, man. It was the windshield was probably 15 below. I mean, it was chilly today, but
Yeah,
kind
it
of our
was. It was
first,
very.
kind of one of our. I think we've had a couple other cold days, maybe in November, but I mean, this today winter kicked off. We're like, okay,
Yeah.
shit's about to be
Yep, it
real.
sure did. Yep. Yeah, Bubs, yeah, it's, how's that Minnesota weather over there? Getting any snow over there, Bub? Um, so we're
Probably
pretty much
is.
yeah. So pretty much we're just gonna jump in. We're just gonna talk about the college playoffs, our real thoughts. We'll pop up our, beginning of the year, our thoughts on who we thought were gonna make the playoffs. And we'll just discuss some of that, and we'll just kinda go round by round, and then we'll give our, our champion who we thought it is, or who our champion will be at the end too as well. And we'll throw some fantasy guys up in there too, our thoughts. We'll talk a little fantasy too as well. If you guys haven't, we jump into the fantasy side of college football. So I mean, it's great if you haven't played college fantasy. Some people are running college fantasy. I'm like, yes, that is a thing.
What?
It's yeah,
What?
it is. Yes, it is a thing. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, well,
But
Jay, me and Jay were discussing. We're like, everybody else is putting their 2 cents in on the playoffs, so we thought we'd get our opinions as well. And like he was saying, we'll tie it in with our show. We'll tie it in with the fantasy. Bring up a few guys that have
Sweet Jesus.
sweet Jesus. Cade Klubnik, from Clemson, he kind of came out of nowhere, like had a monster season. So I mean, guys like him and obviously Ashton, our Mr. Top 10 pick himself, Ashton Genty. We'll probably get into him as well. We get to Boise, but in the meantime, go back and listen to all the archive stuff over on Spotify. That's my personal favorite. I know Jay loves Spotify too. If you want to do the audio stuff or in your vehicle, YouTube got all the visual content. So you get some shorts of us, you get the full length episodes. Pick your poison. The X, we're both on over there. So if you want to hear or see some of our opinions on things, or Jay's always posting stuff daily, so he's great about that. And then we're a couple other platforms as well. So there's plenty of places to find us.
yeah, for sure, for sure. It is. That's about right. We got. I don't want to get ahead of you guys here, but LSU beats five teams in the playoffs. I
Well,
know.
well, you know what? I was gonna wait to unveil this, but you know what? I'm gonna pull it up. There we go. Okay, so these were the original 12 teams that we had picked, and obviously some of them were favorites. I mean, it would have taken like fucking five losses for Georgia or Ohio State, a program like that to have missed the playoffs. So obviously, Captain Obvious, some of these ones weren't that adventurous. I thought Utah. I mean, Utah I thought would be way better. Utah ended up being a joke. I think what were they 4-8? I mean, just pathetic. Ole Miss barely missed. Alabama obviously could have very well been in over SMU. Miami the same deal. K-State 8-4. They kind of had a kind of mid-season. So, but these were the original 12. Let's go down the list. To answer his question, Jay. Let's go down. Which 5 teams could he beat? Like in the current playoffs? I think LSU could beat SMU. I think they could beat Indiana.
Yeah.
I think that they could beat Clemson. That's 3. I honestly, I think Boise would beat them. I think Boise's better. I know people are knocking them. Oh, they got a bye, or they got like Ashton Genty would run all over that defense. Like, it and the quarterback. He's underrated as well. So, and Boise's defenses, they have their moments. They held UNLV to 7 points in that Mountain West Conference Championship game. So I think Boise would beat them. So that's not one of the 5. Trying to think of I think LSU could beat Ohio State. Maybe that's kind of the biggest upset of like the. I think they could beat Ohio State, and then find me one more. You know what? I think Tennessee would beat them too. I think Tennessee's underrated at number 9. The 9 seed. I think Tennessee's a sleeper to win the whole thing. With Dylan Sampson and that defense. Penn State, because Penn State isn't. I know they got the stud tight end Warren, and defense is pretty good, but Penn State, they have issues in big games, as we know. So Penn State, Ohio State, SMU, Indiana, and Clemson are the 5 teams that LSU could beat. So Jarrett, you are spot on, my friend.
Yeah, I think LSU could totally take out Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State, they're okay. Okay, I mean, Will Howard, not a fan.
Will Howard sucks. Let's just say it. Let's say it. Will Howard sucks. They have all the money in the world.
Get out here and eat this garbage.
Yeah, right. They have all the money in the world at their disposal, and this is the best that they can get. I get Cam Ward, Miami, big deal. I understand that. They weren't going to pull, like Caden Salter. I don't think he would have been a guy that was in the portal last. He entered the portal again this year. I think this year he finally leaves Liberty. Yeah. But Caden Salter would have been in the portal for last year, so he would have been an option. But I don't know how much better he is than Will Howard. Yeah, it's just like Will Howard just or better yet, because Jay is a huge fan of his, they could have kept Kyle McCord. They had Kyle McCord on the roster. Syracuse, which hasn't won shit probably since Donovan McNabb. Seriously, they probably Syracuse probably hasn't had anywhere close to that many wins. Maybe there's a couple years I'm missing or whatever. Maybe that, but I mean, Syracuse has not been relevant probably since Donovan McNabb was there 25 years ago, and he got them to 9-3, and Syracuse could have very well won 10 games. I think Pitt was the only game that they got blown out. So Syracuse was damn good this year. A lot of that was Kyle McCord. They had him. I think they'd have a better chance at winning the national championship. Instead, when we get into our matchups here, they might be in some trouble.
So earlier I jumped on. I was commenting on the BS podcast over there, their live stream, anyways. So one of the guys is a hot take from our pod. What if Ewers stays in the portal to Georgia next year? He can't stay at UT.
No, because the fans are ready to get rid of Quinn. They want Arch. I'm not even a Texas fan. Hook 'em horns. I'm not even a Texas fan. I want Arch. Jamie wants Arch.
Yeah, I would. Yes, I want Arch.
Okay, so there's not a soul that wants Quinn Ewers back at quarterback, and we know his draft stock took a hit. Otherwise,
it took a huge hit. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, I have right now I haven't updated it, but I'm working on it. But I mean, I have McCord over Ewers. I got Gabriel over. Nussmeier's going back now. I mean, I got Milroe and I got Dart over Ewers because I'm just like,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not a fan.
I hate Carson. I blacklisted Carson Beck. I have Carson Beck over Quinn Ewers. In terms of a draft prospect, we'll get into that more later. Don't want to blow our load too early on our college spotlights, but yeah, Quinn Ewers, his draft stock taking a major hit. I don't know if another program would want him. Like if Steve Sarkisian's like a quarterback whisperer. So if Sark can't fix him, what makes you think like Kirby Smart's going to do any better with him? So I don't think Georgia would be a good place for him. I think he should go to a smaller school. Almost do like a Kyle McCord, like stay in the Power 5, but maybe take a step back to like maybe go to West Virginia, some program like that, and try to resurrect yourself. Because right now it's like, dude, he's got every weapon known to man. I mean, he's got every advantage known to man at Texas, and I mean, Texas could get upset by Clemson very easily.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, if you think about Texas was in the championship last year, before the Natty, and they couldn't even get past freaking the Huskies last year. If they had all the weapons to actually go to a title game, and they still couldn't do it. I mean, they had freaking Enidine Mitchell, they had freaking Xavier Worthy. Yes, they had these three guys, and they still couldn't get past the duo of the Huskies. I mean, I'm not a fan.
I can't even think of the tight end right now, but the Panthers took him like he was a stud too. I mean, they had 4 skill position guys taken in like the first 3 rounds. LSU was winning the Natty next year, baby.
Yeah, I do it for fantasy reasons. I love that Nuss is coming back because he had a great damn year, and I know I haven't quite made that out yet. I think he'll probably be he might end up being a first rounder or second rounder in college fantasy drafts for next year as well.
I'm all over Garrett Nussmeier. I think next year, I definitely think LSU is a playoff team next year.
Yeah, I don't think they're really losing too many pieces either, especially in the wide receiver area. I don't think they're really losing a lot of pieces either.
I think Daniels, the receiver, went in the portal. I think that's about it.
I think I'm not sure. I'll have to look. I think there might be one guy. There might be coming back. I'm not sure either. But Jared says, I like yours as a pro style team to make himself a top 5 pick.
In college, in like a college redraft league, maybe for quarterbacks, possibly. NFL, hell no. Hell no.
Yeah. I would not draft this guy in my life for an NFL dynasty league. I would not draft this guy to save my life.
He needs some refining. I don't know. I look at Kyle McCord and I'm like, it's kind of I think he should take a step back, because you don't think that a program like who's a really bad, like Wake Forest. You don't think Wake Forest wouldn't be happy to have Quinn Ewers at quarterback?
That would, or a Vanderbilt
program like that. Do your last year, because we all know he's trying to make some of that good NIL money. Go to Wake Forest, go to West Virginia, go to a program like that. Help them win 8-9 games. You're goddamn Patrick Mahomes if you win 9 games at Wake Forest. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna take a look too, because he could just stay in the ACC. I mean, hell, Duke is looking for a team. I mean, hell, go to a Duke if they're offering some money. They weren't bad. They weren't bad this year.
He might have, but they just picked up Darian Mensah, your boy from Tulane.
Oh, that's
Tulane
right.
in the portal.
I'm pissed that he left. I mean, why leave? I mean, Tulane they have the opportunity to actually make to be in the mix of a playoff run for next year. They have a great.
Jay, I'll be honest. I think he sabotaged the end of their year. I think he told them a couple games out he was going to transfer. I think
who knows? That very well could be.
And I love me some Army. I mean, I love what they've done this year. They had, but I mean, if you saw Tulane a month ago, like Army had no business beating them. Who's the other team they lost? Was it Memphis or was it UTSA? I was trying to think of the other team they lost to, but like Tulane was 9-2, primed to try to compete with maybe Boise to get a playoff spot, or one of the maybe the Big 12 champion, like Arizona State or something. Being 11-2 and maybe getting high enough in the rankings or something to try to jump one of those.
They lost to Memphis and just Army.
Yeah, Memphis and Memphis is a solid team too. Absolutely. Army,
Oklahoma and Kansas State.
I do. I think he told them that I'm out, and I think the team just after that they're just watch in the bowl game. I think they're going to get rolled in the bowl game. I think Tulane just packed it in once they realized, oh shit, our young quarterback is gone. We had such a bright future, because he would have been back next year, and this team would have been in the same spot. competing for the AAC again, but
Yeah, they were back-to-back champions, but I believe they have a kid from the Ducks. I think they have that Ty Thompson, I believe, not the other kid who just transferred out. I believe they had the one guy from the Ducks that was
he'll probably end up playing the bowl game.
It probably will be if I remember quick, yeah, because I remember him coming up leaving the Ducks last year. I'm surprised they didn't start him, but Mensa was the guy who actually got to start. I was a little disappointed in my case. So just a quick here. I was a little disappointed in Miami. I was not happy about them losing. Hell, I'll leave that up here for just a second. I was disappointed. I think they should have won that one. I mean, I think they should be in the playoffs. But they played a lot of close games in a lot of these games. But they just lost too many at the end. I didn't know what the hell Utah was doing most of this year. I mean, hell, I wanted our boy back, but Mr. Cam Rising played a joke on us. So I did.
He's trying to get another year of eligibility.
He did the same shit he did last year with this year, and we were all hoping that he would have led them to a play. I mean, it was wide open for them to actually win the conference, but no, not.
Exactly. Jay, Arizona State was picked 16th out of 16 in that conference. So, I mean, it was wide open to anybody. Fucking UCF could have won the conference for all we know. Utah, going 4-8 in that conference is, just ridiculous. But they got a quarterback in the portal. Right there. Devin Dampier from New Mexico. He was a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. I think that's a very good pickup. I think it's upgrade.
Yeah, it is. I think so. I mean, they had
upgrade over Isaac Wilson. I think it's
he's gone too.
I think it's an upgrade over Cam Rising.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone too. So I mean, this is a good enough for the Utes to actually come in and who cares about freaking Cam Rising? I mean, fuck. I don't think he's going to be an old ass guy by the time he actually enters the draft, and no one's going to want this guy. But
go to Liberty. Caden Salter's in the portal. Go to Liberty and go get your 8th year. Go get, whatever. I don't know. I just don't know who the hell would want Cam Rising at this point. Can't stay healthy. Had one good year, and that was 25 touchdowns or something. It's he's never thrown 30 plus. He's not really he's not really a rush threat anymore. I mean, his body's just so beat to shit. I don't know who would, unless you're a desperate, G5 school or something, who would want Cam Rising? No, Cam is not the answer, Jacob. You damn right.
Well, maybe for some NFL teams this year. I mean, I think he'll be a guy that we will all be taking in our rookie drafts for sure. I know I'll be wanting him in a couple of our rookie drafts if he gets drafted in the right spot in my eyes. But
was he talking about Cam Rising or Cam Ward?
Maybe he was probably he probably was talking about Rising. Yeah, I thought he was talking about Ward. I was gonna say Ward. I was gonna say Ward is a high prospect here. I'm Rising, yes. Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I have some Rising cards. Actually, I think I got one of his autographs back here somewhere, but yeah.
Be worth 20 cents. I don't know. But Jarrett was saying, how scared are you if you're a GM in this quarterback class? Even if it's a bad class, there's always going to be somebody that pops. And every draft, whether it's a 6th round guy, whether it's a 4th round guy, 2 4th round guys, maybe the number 1 overall pick. Let's say it's Shedeur. Say Shedeur pans out and ends up being like a top, like Dak, like a top 10, top 12 quarterback or something. There's always gonna be another guy that top to bottom, it's not great, but you just got to make do. It's always the same damn teams too. It's always the Giants, Raiders, Jets, shitty teams like that. Jags. I feel honestly, if you're of any of those teams, Jags are in the worst spot because they're stuck with Trevor Lawrence, and we know he's mid as hell. He's average as the day comes. You're stuck in a giant contract because Cowboys are with Dak, but at least Dak can get you to the playoffs, and Dak has good fantasy years. What's the upside of Trevor Lawrence? So I look at least the Giants have hope. Maybe Shedeur hits, maybe the Raiders, maybe Cam Ward hits. you know, but you start to get into like Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck and guys like that, and I'm like, ick. Yeah.
I mean, the only
I'm
other
gonna go
guys
brush my tongue.
the only other guys I can kind of think of here that I kind of mentioned is Kyle McCord is a guy I kind of like.
He's a
Billy
sleeper.
Gabriel.
Yes.
A lot of people. It's a lot, because I made a comp. It was funny because I made a comp to him being the next Kirk Cousins, and they were a little iffy. They were a little iffy on why I thought he was. I mean, go look at his play log. He only had one game under 250 some odd yards. The rest of his games were 300 and more. So I mean, there was only one game where he was not. It's crazy to think about that. But his interceptions ratio, there was a game. Well, the pick game, he threw some Kirk Cousins shit. He threw 5 picks that game against Pitch. So
yeah.
It's kind of the same.
The Kirk Cousins from the past month, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
The
last 4 games. But before that, Jay, like the 4th round Kirk Cousins, the Michigan State Kirk Cousins, the Kirk Cousins from the Viking years and some of the Washington years. I mean, I think it's a very good comp because McCord can sling it. Not a super mobile guy, like Cousins, no. That's not his strength. He's a pocket passer, but similar size, similar arm strength. So I don't think you're that far off with the Cousins comp.
No, I'm not. And if and we actually, I mean, I watched a lot of. I mean, it's kind of sad to see because the Will Howard to McCord going down to Syracuse, where there's absolutely nothing down there, where McCord had everything in Ohio State with the Buckeyes to showing just to showing his skill set.
Right, Quinshon Judkins or LaQuint Allen. I don't know who are we taking. Like Will Howard had better weapons. Ibuka was like their number 2 this year because that freshman came in and he kind of took over, took the reins of that. So it's like Emeka Ibuka is your number 2. Like Syracuse, they didn't have anybody on that level. Like Ibuka would be their number 1 clearly. So it's like he had better weapons, he had better everything, better offensive line. He had a disposal, and Will Howard he didn't have a bad year, but he's not. I'm a K-State, if I were to name my favorite team, I'm a K-State fan. Like at K-State, he was like a little above average. I don't know why Ohio State came after him. I'll be honest. I guess they were desperate, but you should have just stayed with Kyle McCord. And Kyle McCord is probably going to end up being a better pro anyways than a lot of these guys. Which team doesn't take quarterback and builds for the Arch Manning? Arch is going to be great. Okay, he's going to kick ass at Texas next year. Maybe he comes out after his junior year, or I don't know if he's a redshirt sophomore. I forget how they did Arch. I know he was a freshman in 2023 this past year. Obviously he played a few games, but so I don't know. I think Arch is probably going to stick around for 2 more years, I'd say. At Texas.
I think so. Yeah, he'll probably stick around in Texas. And it was funny. Did you see his dad or his dad or whatever, which one? He's like, yeah, they asked him, oh, I want to see Manning play for the Cowboys. Let's play this out with Dak. Let's just let him get this crap out, this contract over with, and we can start fresh over, and we can get
imagine,
okay. The way our season has been this year, I would totally be down for Manning right now.
Okay, 2025, you take Ashton Genty. He becomes like their next stud running back. Or maybe you get Omarion Hampton in the 2nd round. You take a guy like that, you get a stud feature back, just an all-around great running back. You take one of those 2 guys, and then in 2026, possibly, maybe 2027, you got to wait a little bit. You take Arch because, Dak's contract will be at that point. They can just, like the Broncos did with Russ. It's just they ate about $69 million of that. So it's like the Cowboys. If Dak sucks in 2 years, they'll draft Arch, and the Cowboys finally have a future, and then you can just eat the rest of the money. That's So I like that plan. To answer his question, yeah, I would say the Cowboys. He makes perfect sense. Going to Texas, he's the Manning name that's like royalty. That's like football royalty.
He would just stay right in Texas too. So I mean, it makes more sense. Yeah,
it's the fucking Dallas Cowboys. That's his team, but I mean, I know how big of a brand. That's the biggest brand in football.
Pair him with the freshman from Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, fuck, that would be a great pairing. Right there.
Get the receiver from Ohio State. Yeah, no shit. Or the Ryan Williams from Alabama. Get one of those young guns and.
Yep, there we go.
CD will probably still be good at that point.
For him being 17 years old, dude. I mean, that's huge. I mean, he's killing it.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just showing where where college football is going in general. I mean, just it's for us to think about the 4-man playoffs to expand to 12. It gives a lot of people are like, oh, we hate this 12-man thing already. We haven't even seen how it. I mean, we haven't really seen how it actually played out yet. I mean, the only thing downside for me is getting let's get these committee guys to either get a structure down and then follow it, not like just vice versa. Well, we'll do it this way one year, another way this way next year. Just get a whole big structure down and just follow it year to year to year to year, and then there won't be no complaints on like, well, this team should have been in. It's that is it going to be strength of schedule, or is it or the matter of how teams play? Just get to the point.
And it's such a. It's so tough because I get why they play these FCS teams, right? They're not always just playing like SDSU or North Dakota State or Montana State. The kind of the higher upper echelon FCS teams. It's a lot of whatever Tennessee Tech or it'd be some weird ass school. Those small schools, that's how they pay for the other the other sports. How do you think the swim team is getting funded, the softball team? And it's these $1 million games. They're basically getting a check to come and get their ass kicked by Alabama and
prime example is the Jackrabbits Cowboys game, the first game of the year. I mean, it's like fudge, dude. I'm like, Rabbits could have played somebody else besides the Cowboys the first year, because they're going to hopefully 3 repeat for their national championship. But I mean, it's like, God, it kind of hurts their tendencies a little bit right off the bat.
Well, but they got to take what they can get. I mean, Boise had that problem for years where they were, they weren't an FCS team. I mean, they were a Mountain West and WAC team and stuff, but like they couldn't get anybody to play them because these big schools risked losing because Boise was that good. Like, it's going to be hard to get a lot of these FBS teams to want to play a South Dakota State or to want to play a North Dakota State because they could, like North Dakota State almost, they came with a couple yards from beating Colorado, beginning of the season. So in Colorado ended up being a 9-3 team. So
the Bison almost. I mean, the Bison's almost knocked them off. So I was like, oh, I mean, that game was a game to talk about the beginning of the first week 1.
Yeah,
dude, that was fucking nuts.
Yeah, it was. But I think it's almost like a courtesy. It's like these small schools can make a little bit of money to help them out. Because they don't have the NIL budgets and the boosters. They don't have a lot of that stuff or as much as the big schools have, obviously. Like it, subscribe. It helps the algorithms, absolutely, if you're enjoying the content here. But we're just discussing, I guess we got into what to do about the schedules because Alabama was bitching. Miami didn't really have. Miami fucked themselves. I mean, they played a lot of close. I mean, they got burned. They played by the fire for too long. They got burnt finally. So
let me
South Carolina, they should have 9-3 is very damn good in the SEC. But they probably should have lost one less game earlier in the year. If 10-2 South Carolina, they would have got in over any of these teams. They would have got in over SMU, Alabama, any of these teams. So South Carolina was close, but and I don't want them, maybe in the future we'll demand a 16-team playoff, but right now 12 is fine. That's plenty of teams. I kind of like this, four, you get it, you get an advance, you get an edge a little bit. You get 4 buys, and then the 4 games going on. So I'm loving this 12-team format so far. But in terms of like making the schedules even, like you were saying, I think you got it. I don't know, because I don't think they're going to cut out the FCS games. I really don't. I think it's going to take years for that to happen. So, and these small schools kind of need that money. So you're kind of fucking them. So I don't know. I guess they have to have some kind of guidelines, Jay. It has to be like, you have to play whatever. Every conference you play, let's say every conference, 8 conference games, and then you have 1 FCS game, and then you have 3 non-conference, Power 5 schools. So you'll play like, let's say you're in the Big Ten, you'll play 8 Big Ten teams, you'll play 1 ACC, 1 Big 12, and 1 SEC, and then you'll play either I guess a G5 would be better than a FCS.
Yeah, G5s. I mean, there's some good G5 teams out there. I mean, Liberty's not too bad, and we got Jackson State coming around. I mean,
yeah,
there
it's
are some good.
It's tough. It's tough
Oh,
because
most
I mean
definitely.
we're South Dakota State. We're Jack fans. So it's hard to I'd love to see they make the jump to the main level, but for right
I mean,
now,
yeah. I mean, I would love to see them in the Mountain West.
You're fucking programs like that though by kind of taking away their payday, because that they probably depend on that $1 million they get from Alabama, LSU, Ohio State. So they'll have to make the schedules even for all, like the power. And if the Pac-12 comes back, and if they're the kind of Power 5 again, if the Pac-12 is resurrected, and with Boise and Colorado State, some of those programs that are coming in, eventually if you have 5 again, and then you have the G5. We'll see. It's interesting to talk about, but
Yeah, it is. It is. It's for me. I guess you think about the big no, it was the Big 12, where I mean we had 3 teams that had the same amount. They had the same record in their own conference, and maybe if there was just a few more games, that wouldn't have happened. To have like, well, I mean, hell, it could have been Iowa State up here up in the playoffs possibly, or Colorado up here in the playoffs. I mean, hell, if you think about it, I mean, there were 6 teams that I thought, like Miami was one of them, but they kind of laid their own bed in that aspect. I mean, they had a lot of good games. Don't get me wrong about that. I mean, 10-2, 6-2. I mean, hell, they didn't even put Alabama in there, and they actually had one more loss than these guys too. So I mean, what could Alabama been the choice over one of these other teams?
I think there were, Jay. I think there were 3 teams that stood out to me that could have made some kind of an argument. Maybe Alabama obviously could have very easily been in, no problem with that. South Carolina too. South Carolina, if things had kind of gone the right way, possibly get in. And then my 3rd team would be Army. The AAC is an underrated conference. I know Tulane kind of imploded at the end of the year there, but there's a lot of a lot of quality teams in the AAC. Army, they're what killed them was that Notre Dame game. Like they didn't have enough power. I mean, Bryson Daly, he did his thing, but the rest of the team, they don't have enough, firepower, enough defense and they would have got their ass kicked in the playoffs. But I think Army would have been the 3rd team on that list that could have tried to make an argument. But Miami made their bed, and some of the other teams, Iowa State made their bed. Colorado, they fucked around too much at the beginning of the year, and so that's what did them in. But
yeah, for sure. I think they should have a like at least 2 like G5 teams, because Boise is kind of in that they're not really quite they're not really considered Power 5 team. I mean they should either have an AAC team, have 2 G5 teams be able to make it every year. I mean that would at least amp up the the conversations about G5 teams.
I would love that. But I honestly, man, I think it would take a 16-team playoff to get to that, though. To get a Tulane and a Boise in, to get UNLV and a Boise in, to get any situation like that, I think it would have to be 16 teams. I think right now, unless they're, you have an undefeated, 7th ranked, 5th ranked whoever, Army or some team like that. I don't see there being two G5 schools, but and Boise's about ready to go to the Pac-12. Maybe the Pac-12 is back from the dead. Maybe in a couple years they get enough teams and they're a power conference again. So, but I'd get it on the Pac-12. I mean, if you're making the jump, if you're South Dakota State, if you're Montana State, if you're a top FCS program, NDSU, any of those programs, I try to weasel my way into the Pac-12. Like, hey, you guys, how many teams are they adding? What, 6? So they're up to 8. It's like, you got spots. If I'm NDSU, I get on the phone like, hey, what's it going to take to get into the Pac-12? Because that could immediately put you in a major conference.
Yeah, but would they be? I mean, it would, but with their play of rank, would that even? Would they be just a bottom feeder in the Pac-12 for who knows how long?
Initially, yeah. But I mean, once you start to get some money raised, maybe if they get some season, take a few years, but start, getting 8-9 wins, and then things will start rolling. I really believe that, but you got to take your lumps. Well, Kennesaw State didn't they make the jump this year and they fired their fucking coach?
They did. they were the team that were.
The guy won a bunch of FCS playoff games, and they and he's the one bringing them into the to the next level, and they cut his legs out from under him before his first year got done. It's like, hey, maybe in a couple of years we could have been competitive.
Yeah, for sure. It was funny. They were actually to go winless, but they actually got one win in, which was like, God damn, dude. And I believe, I can't remember who I was watching. I was.
Might have been Liberty. Liberty.
Yes, that's what it was. Yes, that was
Liberty. Completely shit the bed. Fucking Caden Salter, he couldn't get out of there fast enough. He's like, fuck this. Quentin Cooley. I think Cooley's going to the NFL, but going to the draft. But Cooley should have been the same thing. He's a running back. He's been like, get me the hell out of here. This is a sinking ship.
Yeah, for sure. Here's my other couple teams. I thought maybe Tulane. I thought Tulane could have been that that team over Boise, but they kind of shit the bed in that one. Maybe it's Syracuse. I mean, that would have been awesome to kind of see them up in there. They were kind of playing.
Now we're talking. Syracuse would have been like, if I expanded that list to 4J, if I had Alabama, South Carolina, Army, Syracuse would have been my 4th team. Syracuse of the most deserving team. If there had been a 16-team playoff, you bet your ass you put Syracuse in there. I think if it was a 16-team playoff, Syracuse would have gotten in.
I mean, they did. I mean, they had some good games. I mean, hell, they played Georgia Tech.
They fucked up. I think they fucked up at Jay. Where they fucked up is they lost to Stanford. You can't lose to fucking Ashton Daniels. You cannot lose to Stanford. I mean, that was like that ended any hope there. There's that.
Yeah. Well, and they beat Miami here at the end. So I mean, I think they just need to get a few more pieces around.
They beat UNLV too. So Syracuse had 2 quality wins right there. They beat Miami and UNLV.
Yeah. And my other one is I thought Colorado. I mean, as much as I hated Colorado, it's kind of like I'm not a Shedeur Sanders fan, but I mean, what they did down there in Colorado, they kind of turned that program around quite a bit. They had some great they had almost 3 wide receivers that were pretty great in that offense. Well, 4, you could put it even that way too if you think about Hunter. They had a lot, had a couple transfers coming in there too as well. So I mean, their offense was rocking. I mean, they had some tough matchups here and there.
Pete, just at the right time. We're talking about Colorado and if they're deserving of a playoff spot. Well, I think for ratings. That's why I thought if they had, not shit the bed and gotten to the Big 12 championship game and won the Big 12, that, I mean, they or had got, had been like 10-2, they would have been in discussion with SMU and Alabama for a at-large spot. Absolutely. Because they're who doesn't want to watch, Prime, Shedeur, Travis Hunter, some of the stud receiver, Will Shepherd. I mean, they had players all over the place on Colorado. Absolutely. But They fucked up. They fucked up, and they got their ass kicked by a fucking 6-6 Nebraska team. You know, the first half of the year, Colorado, second half of the year looked way better, but they shit the bed against Nebraska. They should have lost to NDS. You know, they should have lost to FCS, North Dakota State. So I have no sympathy for Colorado, but yeah, they probably would have been 5th or 6th on that deserving list, I bet.
Yep. And my last one was BYU. I mean, I would have loved seeing BYU get up in here.
They beat SMU. They kicked the shit out of Kansas State. They beat SMU. I think they have a couple other good wins I'm not thinking about. Yeah, and the experts even said that, like, BYU had like a lot of, like, they probably had the best resume. It's just they had one too many losses. If they had just
they did
not fucked up, Jay, if they had not fucked up and stayed 11-1, they would have been just fine. They would have gotten that large bid. They would have got the bid over SMU because they fucking beat them. But they be good entertainment. Yeah, it would be. Colorado's, I mean, that's pretty much what they are. They get their ass kicked. I mean, Ohio, Penn State, Ohio State, these teams would roll them, but it'd be entertaining, absolutely. But yeah, BYU, I completely forgot about BYU. I mean, I'll be honest, but
yeah, I was watching a lot of BYU this year, dude. I was not shitting you, dude. I was watching a lot of
Retzloff, the quarterback. He wasn't too bad. LJ Martin was a pretty good running back. I forget what his partners are. Is it Ropati?
Ropati. Yep. They had a 2-headed monster, which was pretty fucking sweet. And then they had one
defense was pretty good.
Yeah, I can't think. I think his name's Chase. One of their slot guys on there. He's kick ass down there. And they had one other guy. He was a senior this year too. But those were some of the teams I liked. But yeah, we should get into discussing these games here, and we'll get down to first round, second round, semis, and our 2 teams for the championship, and then we'll get the hell up out of here. So if you guys have any comments along the way, don't be scared to leave them down below, man, because
dip your toe in the water. It's warm. Come on.
Is it warm? Long as it's not yellow.
Yeah.
Excuse me, 1 second. Excuse me.
I thought you were gonna be like, or you're gonna do the rock bit, but doesn't Chloe the cat, doesn't she drink pea water?
Oh my God, no. No, I mentioned we just discussed Miami a little bit there, Pete. I mentioned Miami too. I mean, they had a good run. They had I mean, it sucked for them a little bit just because they beat some good games, and then they had a lot of close games, and then it was just kind of a shit fall for them right at the end. Yeah, dude. I mean, Jennings, dude, I love that guy for fantasy, dude. I mentioned him toward the end of our.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Rashard Smith. Yeah. Rashard Smith is a fucking animal too. They got a couple skill position guys that I love a lot. SMU is there. We'll get into that game here in a second. We're gonna kick it off with Hook'em Horns, number 5 Texas against the. I don't know if you can call fucking Clemson, kind of an underdog or a Cinderella. They're Clemson. I mean, they've won, a couple national championships, and we remember the years with Lawrence and Watson and those guys. So, if Quinn Ewers is the quarterback, this could be an upset. This could be the first of maybe many. Maybe this turns into the 16-1 upset, where it's like, holy shit, the way Clemson was playing at the end of the season. I know they lost to South Carolina. I get that and all that, but that was a close game too. The way Clemson was playing down the stretch, they could very easily beat Texas. Do I think they will?
I just don't think Texas has the weapons to actually compete with Clemson. Clemson's is actually on a roll right now, and honestly, I think Texas is one and done.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too. Name me a Texas receiver that's better than Antonio Williams. We talked about him in fantasy. Antonio Williams,
unless we're talking about Isaiah Bond, but I mean, there's really nothing there at all.
Yeah. He ain't no James Bond. I think it's what is his handle? What is this fucking handle, like 007 Bond or 007 Agent, or like, dude, you don't deserve a handle. Okay, just because you're number 7 and your last name's Bond, no, it's cute, but you're not that good. That's why Alabama let you go. That's why they didn't try to keep you. Cade Klubnik has been playing out of his mind. Like I was mentioning, Antonio Williams, the receiver stud. Phil Maffa, I think it's an underrated running back.
Yeah.
And then on Texas's side, I don't know. They lost a lot from last year's team. Last year's team would have kicked the shit out of this Texas team. Just with
most definitely. I mean, with
Jatavian Sanders, Jonathan Brooks, Mitchell, Worthy, all the Rams receiver, the who am I thinking of? Whittington. Like they had
Whittington. Yep.
They had studs up the ass. Quinn Ewers, I don't trust. I think if they get down too, I think the fans are gonna. But this is it's a home game for them. It's in Austin, so I think if they get down to Clemson, like Klubnik starts hot or something, and maybe a turnover or two, I could see the fans revolting and being like, "We want Arch. This is like 17-6 at half. We need Arch." So this could end. I mean, this could get ugly quick, man. Like I don't trust Quinn Ewers. I don't trust Isaiah Bond. I don't trust any of the. Was it Blue? Blue isn't he the running back?
Blue. Yeah.
He makes me blue. We do a fucking fantasy show. We would know. There's not a lot of guys on Texas skill position wise we would want. I think Gunnar Helm, the tight end,
I don't think we mentioned one Texas guy this year at all for fantasy related.
No, not really.
Guys.
No.
As far as I don't think
mentioned quite a few. We mentioned quite a few Clemson guys. Just saying.
We have.
So you know what? We're gonna be bold here, and we're gonna say, I don't know if we don't have live. This isn't the fucking Weather Channel here, ESPN. We don't have that kind of technology. But if we could just pull the little Texas or put the line through Texas, they're done. Get them out of here. Clemson is gonna pull the upset here. Boom.
Yes, I agree. I'm gonna go with Clemson. I just like the fact that they're playing well right now, and I am not a Texas fan. I liked Texas, but not as much.
No, not as much as last year's team. No, absolutely not. I have to cough up the bullshit. You know what? We're gonna go down the bracket a little bit here. We got number 11 SMU, got the Ponies, got the Pony Express, ride Cowboy ride, and then we got Penn State on the other side. McLovin, damn right. Got Penn State on the other side. Tyler Warren, at least collegiately, the world's best tight end. Hey, the guy surfs. The guy's a fucking 6'6" tight end that surfs. What's not to like? Drew Aller, I blacklisted him, but he's kind of he's got his moments where he can be, what do they call him? Baby Josh Allen.
Really? Are you serious? They call him Baby Josh Allen? Are you gonna be fucking kidding me?
He's he's kind of similar size, and because of his because he's not very accurate, but he's got a bunch of intangibles and skills and shit. But I'd like to see him on display in a big game, because they lost to Ohio State, they lost to Oregon. SMU is a very winnable game for them, but I don't know. Their program, I just don't trust in big games. Like, they're good enough to get to this level every year. They're always like a top 10 or 12 team, in the rankings and the AP and the college football playoffs every year. They're always in this mix, but defense is good. Is that Singleton, the running back? He's pretty good. I wouldn't mind having him. Next year on my NFL fantasy team as a rookie dynasty draft, but they don't really have any receivers. And then, that's Penn State. And then on the other side, Kevin Jennings, underrated quarterback. Brashard Smith, underrated running back, receiver. I mean, he does a little bit of everything. SMU, the defense, I think, is just as good as Penn State's. I know they don't play the same. It's not a Big Ten schedule. I get that, but they did play in the fucking ACC. It's not like they were playing in the Sun Belt or something. So SMU's got a really good defense too. I don't know. I think the experts probably have Penn State as a big favorite here, but I think this one will be closer than what they think. I don't think SMU is going to get blown out here.
No, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, shit, they were close with Ohio State. They got beat by Ohio State. I mean, the Minnesota game was super close. They barely won that. They couldn't get, I sat there and
They
watched
should
them.
have lost that. The Gophers should have won that game.
They should have. They should have, because I was sitting there watching these guys. They were trying to, right at the freaking red zone, trying to push the ball in at the 1 yard line. They couldn't do anything. We're like, well, let's just run it. Let's run the same play 3 times. What the fuck you can expect? Minnesota's gonna freaking stuff you each fucking time. They didn't roll out. They didn't roll LR out. They didn't, do anything different. It's
Just-
like, what the?
Because there's no creativity. Their OC sucks. Like, the only reason that Penn State is as good as they are is because of the kind of guys that they recruit and get in the portal. You know what I mean? Like, they're a collection of like really good players, but they don't know how to use these guys. So I think James Franklin, the coach, I know a lot better coaches than him. The OC, I forget his name, but he's mid. Like, there's nothing about their scheming that impresses me. They're really not. They're just a bunch of they're just a really talented team. That's about it.
I was on, because I was on vacation a little bit, and I was watching the Big Ten game, and I was honestly surprised that they actually were scoring points up against freaking the.
Yeah, they put up 37.
I was like, what? I'm like, how in the fuck does this happen? I'm like, they go from not really doing anything to putting up points, and I'm like, where in the hell did this offense come from? I'm like,
that's what I said. I was like, maybe some fucking FCS team or Northwestern, some shit Big Ten team, Penn State will put up some points on. But when's the last time they put up 37 points against the, a top, conference team, Oregon or, Michigan for years, Ohio State, Wisconsin, teams like that. They don't, I don't know. I don't like Penn State. I don't like what they're about. I still remember the whole Joe Paterno thing from fucking years ago. I think his whole staff was a bunch of creeps. I don't know. I guess mentally I've never really got over that. Sandusky and all that bullshit. Like, I don't pull for this team. I don't pull for this program. I would love my heart is telling me SMU. My head is telling me Penn State, because there's just too much. Like, SMU is a nice story, but I think Penn State pulls this out. Now, what about you? You gonna pull the trigger here? You gonna do two upset, two ACC teams, teams in the Elite Eight?
Damn right. I'm gonna go ASU, man. I'm not honestly, I'm not. I don't like Penn State. I just don't like the fact that they got in. I mean, there was nothing really fancy about them. They won.
I don't think they have a top 25 win.
No, I don't believe so.
You know what? You keep talking. I'm gonna double check that. I don't think that.
Yeah, far as I know, they didn't. I think they came close, but if you think about something, I mean, hell, they played Ohio State. Ohio State was like a top 5 team, and they beat.
Sorry, they beat West Virginia. Okay, the Big 12, but bad team. Well, I guess they made a bowl, not a bad team, but you get my point. Like, they're not great. Bowling Green has some good fantasy. So they beat Bowling Green by 7 at home. Bowling Green has some good fantasy guys, but yeah, that Kent State they beat the shit out of. UCLA, they beat Illinois. Illinois wasn't ranked at the end of the year. Well, I guess Illinois. I'd have to look at the poll. So Illinois might be the only top 25 team they beat. Yeah, I'll be nice here. So
Illinois was 19 at the time. Yep.
I'll be nice. Okay, so Illinois. Okay, so they beat Illinois. Well, if they had a second loss, I would have been like, get this fucking team out. I don't want to see them. I'd rather see Miami. I'd rather see South Carolina, Alabama, BYU, any of these teams.
Damn right. But yeah, I'm shooting for MSU in here just because I want to be different. I want to see different teams up in there, which is why I like this playoff format a lot this year. And yeah, I'm down with MSU this year. I just like what they got going on. I mean, I love Jennings. I mean, he's killing it. I mean, I like a lot of their other guys too as well. I mean, I know they had a couple other guys. I can't remember who. I mentioned a couple other guys too from them, but I think their running back possibly. I don't remember who all
Yeah,
I talked about this year,
because
but Jennings was one of them.
yeah, Brashard Smith he's all you need to know about. Okay, you want to see like SMU's version of Ashton Genty? No, he's not quite as good, but Brashard Smith is fucking awesome. You're gonna see a lot of him, and they're gonna need a lot of him if they're gonna stay in that game, and the defense to kind of hold it in check, kind of hold Penn State to under 30 points for sure. So you got SMU and Clemson so far. I got Clemson and Penn State. The next matchup here, 7-10 matchup. Indiana, Notre Dame. Notre Dame is just I know they shit the bed against Northern Illinois, back in September, but they've just been rolling everybody. Army, I think Army is a solid team, and they got their ass kicked. They beat the shit out of Navy. USC was no match. You start going down the list, all these teams they beat. Notre Dame, I think they could have been ranked higher. I think they should have been above Penn State. For seeding wise, it should be Notre Dame and SMU and Indiana and Penn State. But so Notre Dame kind of got shafted there, but they're the 7. Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard, one of the best 1-2 quarterback, running back, combos in the country. I mean, Riley Leonard's he's like the Notre Dame version of Bryson Daly or some dual threat like that. John Mateer, some dual threat guy. So Riley Leonard, he's improved. I don't know if it's just the talent at Notre Dame's better, but he's definitely better than he was at Duke last year. So that was one of the great transfer pickups was Riley Leonard.
They beat 3 ranked teams. They beat Louisville, that was 15, Navy at 24, and then they beat Army at 19. So they beat three at least top 25 teams, 15. 19.
Well, and then Army stayed in. Yeah, and Army stayed in the top 25. Louisville, I think Louisville right now is like on the fringe of the top 25. So, and those are good wins. USC, we didn't expect them to be whatever the fuck they were, 6-6. Like that, we thought they'd be a lot better. So, I mean, they beat who was on their schedule. Like, it's like being mad at Boise. It's like they beat who was there. Like, what more do you want?
Oh, I forgot Texas A&M too, top 20. So they beat all 4 ranked teams.
Yeah,
I forgot about that one. Sorry.
Yeah, so those are and Army is going to beat Navy again. So you beat a 12-1 Army team. Navy's been pesky and solid all year. Texas A&M is probably going to get after they win their bowl game. They'll probably get back into the top 25 at the year-end rankings. Same thing with Louisville. So Notre Dame's got a better resume than Penn State. Absolutely. And better. I don't know. Right. At least right now, maybe at the NFL level, it'll be different. Maybe Aller gets he gets whatever, wherever he ends up going. I think he's coming back to school again, but Riley Leonard right now is a better collegiate quarterback than Drew Aller. I love the running back. He came on like gangbusters at the end of the year. Notre Dame's defense, I mean, they've been fucking locking guys down too. Indiana on the flip side, I like Curtis Rourke. I like the quarterback. I've been on him all year. I think he's been very underrated. Only one of those wins are impressive, to be honest, for Notre Dame. Don't forget the loss to Northern Illinois at home. Yeah, we pointed out the loss to Northern Illinois. We know they shit the bed. Absolutely. They fucked up there. That's worth. Yeah, for as many good to quality wins as they had. Yeah, Northern Illinois had Notre Dame had a second loss, they would have missed the playoffs. We'll just be on I could see the committee holding it against them and saying like, okay, you're 10-2 when you lost to Northern Illinois at home. Like we're going to keep you out of this thing. We're going to put Alabama in. We're going to put Miami in or something. So yeah, they were playing on thin ice there.
I mean, they barely beat Michigan, 2015. So I mean, that could have been another loss right there against Michigan.
Could have been, but Michigan was, and they beat Ohio State at the end of the year and 7-5. I know we kind of made fun of Michigan because their quarterbacks had like fucking 80 yards passing every week and whatnot. But I mean, Michigan's still Michigan. They still got players, still got a good defense. So, oh
wait, sorry, I was looking at I was looking at Indiana.
And Mullings, Mullings was most of the year. He had a few stinkers, but like most of the year, Mullings was a good feature back. So, but
Sorry,
Indiana.
I was actually looking at the Indiana schedule there. I was actually looking at
Oh,
Indiana.
no, you're
Indiana
fine.
again. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, Surratt, the receiver, like I was mentioning, Curtis Rourke. Indiana, their rushing attack. I mean, I had them. I mean, we did squad blitz all year is like one of our fantasy things that we were doing. And Indiana, their rushing attack was always at the top. So I mean, they had all the aspects covered. They were beating the shit out of teams they should have been beating the shit out of. They just didn't have enough firepower for Ohio State. And I think if Indiana had a second loss, they would have missed the playoffs too. They didn't make the conference title game. They but they beat the Nebraskas of the world. They beat the teams
Teams
like
they
that.
beat Washington. They beat Washington. Both.
Yeah,
Michigans.
Washington down year. They're just kind of average. Bowl eligible level teams. Indiana, they took care of their business. And Ohio State, they don't have right now with their roster. They don't have enough firepower for a program like Ohio State, which is why I think Notre Dame is gonna roll them. I think this could be of the 4 matchups. I think this could be the blowout. Like I think Notre Dame could just run them out of the stadium.
Yeah,
like LA Knight says.
So I'm going Notre Dame in this one here. I don't think the Hoosiers have enough firepower.
No, I don't even know what the final score. Maybe like 41-20, something like that. 41-17. And then one final game. I think this has the chance to be like the game of the weekend.
I think so. I think this would be the
8-9. Well, they should be 8-9 matchup. I think they're very evenly matched teams. Tennessee side, love me some Dylan Sampson. This is the year of the running back, man. Like we didn't even talk about Dylan Sampson that much, and the guy's an animal. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, definitely Notre Dame's going to cover. Absolutely, they're gonna. Yeah, it's Indiana. It was like I said. It's more the story. Okay, like SMU has a chance to be competitive against Penn State. I don't think Indiana's got a chance to be competitive against Notre Dame. I think this is just too much. But this is going to be you want to get your TV ready for not this coming weekend, but the next one. You're gonna watch the Heisman this weekend. Watch the couple games. We got a couple games on the bottom there. Army Navy, that's going to be fun. A couple other bowl games going on Saturday, but 21st is when these playoff games. A lot of these are. Tennessee, Ohio State. Get your popcorn ready. Get your beer ready. You want to have some cocktails, whatever the hell it is. This is going to get good. Nico, self-admittedly, I think Nico, he hasn't been as bad as Dylan Raiola from Nebraska, but Nico's had his moments.
Out of all the rookies, Nico's has been the better QB out of most all the rookies so far.
He has. It's just he was. I don't know if it was like too much too soon, but I think Nico's got a chance in 2 years. I think Nico's got the chance to be the best quarterback in college football, right up there with like Arch Manning or guys like that. But right now, like I said, he's like Jo has said, he's a freshman, growing pains. But the team around him, their offensive line, their defense, Dylan Sampson, the team around him is ready to win now. So it's kind of almost like remember back in the day, like Dak. Remember how Dak was a rookie, but the Dallas was built to win. Now they had the great offensive line, had Zeke going, and that's what kind of reminds me of is like a young gun here. And then on the flip side, Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State. I don't like what they're about. They annoy me because they don't. I mean, what they won. Was it been 10 years since they won a national championship? What, 2014? With all their NIL money and all their, the recruiting and Ryan Day and all his fake hair he dyes his fucking beard black and shit. He dyes his hair black. Like he's just, I don't know. He's a fake. The program's a fake. They get, every year they get the same players. It's almost like an assembly line. They always get the same, it's whether it's Chris Olave, whether it's Garrett Wilson, whether it's Emeka Ibuka, whether it's Marv Jr., it's always receivers are just they get the same 6'3", 6'4", number one vertical receiver. They get the same guy every year. That's why I'm glad they kind of fucked up with the quarterback. I'm happy about that. Will Howard, they got rid of Kyle McCord for Will Howard. That they messed up. Travion Henderson has been a huge disappointment, not just in fantasy, but another. He's like the running back version of Quinn Ewers in terms of like his draft stock taking a hit. Like Travion Henderson's been garbage this year. Judkins has had his moments, but he hasn't been the same guy that we saw at Ole Miss last year. So,
oh God, no. I mean, if you think about it, Ohio State's running game is a two-headed monster. I mean, it's right now. I mean, I think Judkins has kind of messed up with going to Ohio State. I mean, yeah, they got to the playoffs, but far as his draft value, I think that dips just a little bit. I mean, it doesn't really show. It really did to me. It didn't really impress me much going to Ohio State. I'm like, I mean, Henderson, he was injured the last couple of years too, and I wasn't a fan of him, and I'm like, ugh, you know, like I mean, hell, I was looking at some of these sites where they have both these guys ranked in the top 10. I'm like, what? You'll be fucking kidding me. I'm like, I'm not gonna have nothing to do with both these guys.
No, and I remember that because when we try to come up with players for our spotlights that we do, our college draft, or the NFL draft spotlights, and I brought up Travion Henderson, and you're like, no, fuck that, I don't want to do it. So, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Let's see. Yeah, Jason, love the Clemson call. Penn State win. Notre Dame in a rout. Buckeyes in a close one, in my opinion. I hope not. I mean, you could very well be right, Jason. I don't know, man. I
This
want
one could
Tennessee
be.
to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all down for Tennessee. I think
Tennessee,
I think this one will be pretty close. I mean, Ohio State does got some good wide receivers. Yeah, on the other side, I mean, Tennessee's got a couple, just one or two at tops. It's going to come down to Nico, and it's if they get Sampson going right away to get that run game going and controlling the game, it's very possible. But then on the flip side, you got two guys over there, the Ohio State, that can make plays pretty damn quick. You got Ibuka over there, and you got the freshman over there too. I mean, Judkins, he's all right. I mean, if they get to the goal line, he might punch it in, but I just don't really trust Ohio State all that much, just because we really didn't really see their offense really. I mean, it sputters and it goes, sputters and it goes. I mean, that's Ohio State right now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want to see. I want to see. I want to see. I want to see Dylan Sampson run all over them. I want to see them kill him.
Yeah.
They got Jeremiah Smith. They got the two-headed monsters. They Ibuka. They've got too much talent. He's got too much talent, and this is another one. I'm like with Penn State. It's like I want to go SMU. I can't bring myself. This damn Ohio State team. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. Who you taking?
I am going to go Tennessee. Screw the
There we
Buckeyes.
go. So, all right, let's go to the updated board here. So, we'll start with Jay's bracket, and he can work his way down, and he can get his national champion. I'll get mine. If you guys, I love the comments there from Jason. If there's anybody else that's watching, tune in. If you got your own national champion, if you got your own maybe upset in the first round, maybe Boise making a run here, maybe Arizona State making a run. Comment and jump in. So we'll be doing this for probably another 10 minutes, and then we'll skeet on out of here. But you know what? So Jay's got Clemson and Arizona State. What we got here?
Yeah.
I'll comment too, Jay, because I've got the same matchup. So we'll do this one together. Clemson, Arizona State.
Yes, I love. I mean, to honestly think about Arizona State to being a team that was at the bottom last year, and also when they turned around, they got some Scadaboo. They actually have freaking another freshman too. I mean, their freshman quarterback who was rookie this year,
Sam Levitt. Yeah,
dude, he's lighting it up too as well. I mean, they got weapons. They got Tyson over there too as well. So I mean, they got weapons to go up against Tennessee here, and
he's out though. That stud receiver, he's out for the year.
Oh shit! Tyson's out for the year. Okay.
Yeah,
that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt them a little bit then.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's what changes things, because now Clemson's just gonna load the box. Basically, Arizona State is like the equivalent to Boise. They're kind of a one-man show. It's Genty and it's Scadaboo. So Clemson's gonna go from probably missing the whole tournament to getting into the Final Four. They're going to beat Arizona State. Clemson's going to win. Cade Klubnik, underrated quarterback. Phil Maffa, underrated running back. Antonio Williams, underrated receiver. Like the big three there with Clemson. They're going to keep it rolling, man. It's there's always NC State did this for years, and remember NC State in that NCAA tournament, they'd be like the G5 school or the Power 5 school that would always make they'd get the 11 seed and then they end up making the Final Four or something. This is going to be that team. Clemson beats Arizona State. I think Scadaboo is going to get his, but Sam Levitt, young guy, without his number one receiver. Arizona State's had a nice run, but I think it ends here.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, if they don't have really, if Levitt, if Tyson's out, that's going to hurt them. I mean, if them just having the one run game and being kind of
it's a one man.
That's gonna be difficult. I think so. Arizona, Tennessee moves on. Oof, that's scary. No, that's right. No.
So
Arizona to be Arizona Clemson. Sorry.
So we both got Clemson moving on to the Final Four.
I would say Arizona. Sorry, I would be Arizona over Clemson. Yeah, Tennessee.
You're going to take Arizona State. Okay.
Yeah. So Clemson over Arizona over Clemson. Tennessee plays Oregon, so they stay in the right. So yeah, that's going to be the game right there.
I mean, they beat Ohio State once. I know it was close. I know it was a 3-point game. Tennessee is a new opponent for them. I think Oregon's just too good. So I think Oregon would beat either of those 8-9 matchups. So I think it's going to be Oregon.
Yep.
I got Oregon and Clemson in the Final Four. So you would have Arizona State and Clemson. Or not Clemson. I'm sorry, Arizona State and Oregon. Or do you think Tennessee?
Yes. Yep.
You think Tennessee could upset Oregon?
Nope. So I would go with, Arizona, Oregon. Oregon's going to beat Tennessee.
Oh, an old Pac-12 matchup.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so I mean, Oregon's going to beat Tennessee. There's no way you're going to stop. There's no way Tennessee is going to stop Oregon. I mean, they're just too. The team overall is too well rounded for them to actually.
Tez is back. And Stewart, James, the damn good running back. Dylan Gabriel, at least at the collegiate level, Dylan Gabriel's as good as they come. I think it's going to take a lot to take this Oregon team down. So on the top four, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get the bottom side here. So Jay's got Arizona State, Oregon. I've got Clemson and Oregon in a Final Four matchup. So I took Penn State. You took SMU.
Yep.
You know what? I'm gonna say Boise pulls the upset. Boise gets to the Final Four. Boise gets Maddox Madsen, the quarterback. I think he's underrated. I really do. I think Boise State's defense is underrated. I think there's a lot. I mean, it's all Ashton Genty. We get all that, but some of the complementary pieces are the tight end's pretty. The tight end's pretty good too. So I mean, they do. Some other guys that can chip. They've got some other guys, Jay, that can chip in here. They're going to need. I mean, they're going to need Ashton to have 200 yards. Let's not kid ourselves. But I mean, there's some other complementary guys that can help them. Beat a powerhouse like Penn State. Beat a kind of a team that's on their level in SMU. What do you got? So I got Boise State moving on to the Final Four. What about you?
Yeah, I think this would be a fun matchup to watch, MSU and Boise State, because I think with Ashton just wanting to just tear things up and beat Barry's record, I hope Boise State kind of moves on. So I mean, I think this would be an interesting matchup, but I got Boise State moving on, and now we'll. So I got Notre Dame.
I was going to mention SMU and Penn State both have good rush defenses. So you might say, oh, well, Eli, what's Ashton going to do? He tore up Oregon. He was running past guys at Oregon. I think he can do the same. It's not just he's beating the shit out of Mountain West teams. I think he could put up 180 or 200 on one of these ACC, Big Ten schools too. I don't have any doubt about it. He's not going to get. I mean, that would be a major disappointment if he had like 60 yards, dude. I don't see that happening. Ashton's going to have a big one. So we both got Boise in the Final Four?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we got Notre Dame and Georgia. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now if Carson Beck is out, I think he's garbage anyways. I think that Stockton, is that the kid? That's the
Yeah, I think so. He played all right. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't an outstanding performance, but I mean, at least he got the offense moving. I mean,
won the game.
Yeah, they did. So
I mean they'd probably be what the 10 seed, probably where Indiana's at, had he not, you know what I mean, they wouldn't be getting a bye had that kid not won the game. So maybe Stockton, maybe he's not that much, it's not a drop off from Beck to him. And we know the rest of Georgia's loaded. So as always, but there have been better Georgia teams, but the one with a couple years ago was Stetson Bennett, and a lot of I think they had like 9 or 11 NFL players on defense or whatever. But so this team isn't as good as those Georgia teams from a couple years ago, and I think they're definitely beatable. You know what? Hell, I'm going to say it. Notre Dame is getting to the Final Four. They're going to pull an upset here. They're going to upset Georgia, and it's going to be Boise and Notre Dame in the Final Four.
Okay, so I think that game is going to be. I think it's going to come down to some team. It's either going to be a no call, no penalty, and there's going to be a first down, and one of these teams is going to move on just because of one faulty penalty, or a ref not calling this penalty or something along those lines. And I think it's going to be one of those kind of games. It's not going to be. I don't think it's really going to be a high scoring game either. With both these teams. I mean, they can put up points, but I don't, we've seen Georgia where they just kind of flubbed a little bit. They didn't really put up a lot of points, and then all of a sudden they put up a lot of points. So I think this can be a lot of a defensive game. There's not gonna be a lot of points in this game.
I don't think so either. I think Notre Dame's going to control the game on the ground. I think the whole national audience is going to find out how good Jeremiah Love is, the Notre Dame running back, and their rushing attack. How do you, Trey? What's up, man? How do you feel like Clemson's matchup with Texas? We got Clemson winning. We got Clemson. I got Clemson in the Final Four. He has them getting knocked out by Arizona State. That's how I feel about Clemson. Clemson's prime for a major upset tour here. They're on the fuck the transfer portal tour. And Clemson win it all. Well, we'll see. Trey, hang on a second here, Trey. You just hold up here. We'll get to that. I got to know what Jay is thinking on Georgia and Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that here in a second here. Jason says Georgia, in my opinion, all depends on if Carson Beck plays. They could get beat by Indy without Beck. With Beck, they have a clear path to the title game. I know.
I agree. I agree. If Beck does play, because he's middle of the year is when I was kind of turned off by him, but he had some 3 touchdown, no pick games, towards the end of the year, and he was playing pretty good. So yeah, I could see, Georgia could be in the national championship game if Beck's healthy, absolutely. But I'm thinking he's not. I'm thinking Stockton's going to play, and Notre Dame.
Right at the end there, he had pretty much. He had his arm down the last play for them to actually.
He was. Yeah. I respect it. I respect him for just gutting it out, winning the and handling his business and stuff. But so he earned my respect with that. But I don't know if he's. You need to be against a team like Notre Dame. Like you need to be 100% on. All hands on deck kind of thing. And that's a lot to ask from that Stockton if he's got to face Notre Dame's defense. And you know what? I got Notre Dame. Who you got? You got.
Yeah.
You gonna take Georgia? That's fine. If you want to take, that's fine. Nothing.
I don't know. I'm kind of torch spun with this one. It's gonna be a low scoring game, and I might just go Georgia just because they'll probably find a way. They'll probably find a way to win it either way. So I'll probably
Kirby Smart's crafty. That team is they're gonna be just fine. So we got
third round
Oregon.
here. So
you got Oregon and Arizona State. Who you got first? And I'll talk about Oregon Clemson here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Oregon just because I mentioned Oregon's got the team. They got the team to actually get to the finals. In my eyes, I think they'll be the team to take it all. I think it's gonna come down to a Oregon, Georgia, and not to spurt all of it, but that's just my thoughts right there.
I think, well, those are the two teams everybody's wanted to see all year. They wanted to, like that's like the real national championship game kind of. So I get why people would want Oregon, Georgia. Clemson, I think that their run ends here. Oregon's just too much. They're healthy. They're Gabriel. This might be the best Dylan Gabriel's ever played. Between UCF, Oklahoma, Oregon, he's just playing out of his mind. Just too many weapons. The defense has been cranking it up. Like they're just everything. And I would, what? We're gonna get a rematch of fucking September when Oregon was 7 and Boise was unranked, because Boise's gonna fucking beat Notre Dame, major upset, and we're gonna get a Boise Oregon national championship game. What? Yeah, damn, you guys said it. Oregon, Boise. Yes, yes. If you like some of the comment, please. Yep. Watch, subscribe, spread the good word about us, all that stuff. I don't know how they're going to get it done, but it might take another Statue of Liberty play. Remember that play against that 2-point play against Oklahoma, back in the day, the Statue of Liberty to Ian Johnson. They might need something like that again. They might need to pull out. I think they had a play earlier in the year. It was like an RPO. It wasn't like the RPO you're thinking about. They had like a run pass option thing where like the kicker, like he determines if he wants to fake punt it or run up to the line and kick it. And so Boise's got a bunch of tricks up their sleeve. Okay. And they're going to need every one of them to beat Penn State and Notre Dame, but they're going to do it. And I can't wait. So you got Georgia and Oregon in the national championship. I have Boise and Oregon, but I think we both come to the same agreement. Or Oregon's going to win the national championship. They're just too good.
Yeah,
too good.
Yeah. They're just way too good. I mean, going undefeated. I mean, the willpower. I mean, at first, hell, I thought the Ducks were going to lose a couple games because Gabriel didn't look right, when he first transferring, and I'm sure a lot of it came down to scheme and a lot of that stuff too. Just kind of
he's worked out the kinks now.
Oh yeah, getting acclimated to what they're doing up there in Oregon, and at first I was just like, damn, dude, he didn't look like he was he didn't look like he was when he was with the Sooners. He was slinging it, running it, and whatnot. We didn't really see a whole lot of that.
How good is Dylan Gabriel? Because Oklahoma's what are they? I think Anderson, their receiver, and they had a couple other guys that I from the 2023 team. Oklahoma, it's not just the switch to the SEC. Like Oklahoma fell off the face of the earth without Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. We saw how bad Jackson Arnold was. Yeah, Gabriel. I hope he's not the next like Bryce Young, because he's kind of smaller. But I don't know. Bryce Young has actually looked decent the last few weeks, and with the Panthers. But Gabriel. If he's got a quick release and they can protect him in the NFL, he might end up being the best. Jay's been saying it, like he's got the chance to be the best quarterback in this draft. So, they're firing on all cylinders right now. Like, or you'd be dumb. Some of these upsets are going to happen. It's like the NCAA tournament. Like a couple of years ago when UConn was really rolling, it's like you'd be dumb not to pick UConn. You'd be dumb not to pick Oregon here. There's just, it's just how do you want to make the sandwich? Like we know it's going to go in your stomach, but how do you want to make the sandwich here? Do you want a slice of Georgia? Do you want a slice of Boise? How about maybe a slice of Arizona State? Maybe some Tennessee, however you want to get there. But Oregon's going to win this thing.
Yeah, I think Oregon's going to be the team to take it all. But just overall, man, I love the new playoff, instead of this little 4-man playoff thing that they had, for 10 plus years. I just think it just, for me, I think it brings a lot of variety. It's going to give a lot of different teams, an opportunity to actually win a championship without being only 4 teams and, these, bigger SCE, ACC teams having all the opportunities. Alabama has enough, trophies for years to come. They can stay out for 10 plus years for all I care.
How many did Saban win there?
Probably way too many to count.
7 or something crazy. But no, in this form, if it had been the playoff system from last year, if it had been the playoff system from last year, it would have been Georgia, Oregon, Texas, and
Probably Notre Dame.
probably Notre Dame. Those probably would have been the four teams. There'd been no, at least this way. I mean, we're just predicting what we think, and you guys are too with what you guys think as well. But I mean, SMU, maybe they pull an upset. Maybe SMU wins the national championship. Maybe Boise wins the national championship. Maybe Clemson wins the national championship. They wouldn't have had that chance before. So I hope everybody's off this college playoff, like not liking it or not liking the concept. This is genius. I think it's, whatever. Alabama wants to bitch. That's fine. That's fine. Don't lose 24-3 to Oklahoma. Don't lose 24-3 to Jackson fucking Arnold. You lost to Jackson Arnold. Okay, Brent Venables is one, of all like the blue blood programs, he's probably the worst head coach. He really is. Like I don't know what the fuck's happened to Oklahoma, but there's Big D. And think about all the extra revenue for these schools. They're going to make bank.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
I mean,
Boise,
I love
it. Jay, Boise, to keep Boise at this level, to be able to retain Ashton and guys like that, Boise needs this money. Indiana needs this money. Programs like
most
that.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And any of these teams that make it in here, I mean, especially MSU. I mean, that's money for them. I mean, it just brings more. It gives them more opportunity to bring in different guys to actually improve their teams. I mean, hell, I would have loved Tulane to be up in there. It would have helped to bring more guys.
Me too. I would have loved to have seen Makai Hughes. Makai Hughes is one of the best running backs that the kind of like the non-major college football fans haven't heard of. Makai Hughes is one of the best running backs you've probably never heard of.
Yeah, he'll be the next guy in the next few years to be a first rounder or a second rounder guy coming out for the draft.
Hope you got him in Dynasty. Just watch in 2025. Just watch what he does next year and improve his draft stock too.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
My Jason just said my hot take is the winner of Tennessee versus Ohio State takes down Oregon. I don't know how or why, but maybe the revenge factor for Ohio State. Who knows? But I have Ohio State and Notre Dame in the final. You can't. I mean, these power schools, you can't go. I mean, Ohio State, they have the talent. I mean, we never doubt that Ohio State. I mean, we know they've got the talent to do it. It's just can they avoid the upset? Because Tennessee is going to be game. Like Tennessee is a sleeper in this thing, so they're going to have their hands full with that. But I mean, yeah, and then they get Oregon, so it's like it's murderer's row. I mean, you get Tennessee and that's Ohio State has the hardest path to the national championship. Let's just be honest, because Tennessee and Oregon back to back, that is brutal.
Yeah, it is.
So Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's got Georgia waiting too. So it's like if we're going to talk about a team like if Penn State actually had a set of balls, like Penn State could have the to beat basically SMU, Boise. They have the path to get to the Final Four, but Penn State won't do it because they're gutless. But
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. So, I mean, if you guys love our college content, we're going to be working on our college spotlights for the 2025 NFL drafts. So especially guys in Dynasty and stuff like that. So we're going to break down individual spotlights on each of these guys. We're going to try to crank out as many as they can. They won't be live. They'll be an upload. So if you guys love what we are doing here right now, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for our our Dice playlist. I already got that set up over there, and who knows? Maybe this Saturday we might see a college spotlight pop up over there.
Ooh. Can't wait. Yeah, and thank you for everybody for commenting, tuning in. It enhances the show, makes our life easier, our job easier. We have stuff to work off of, so we always appreciate that. And this is a great topic. This wasn't, we mentioned fantasy guys, but we kind of eased up on some of the fantasy talk like we normally do. So this was more generalized about the teams. And so, yeah, it's going to be a great playoff. Can't wait. Some really good bowl games coming up too. I know people are going to shit on them because of the transfer portal and people leaving and whatnot, but it's still, guys, it's still football. If it's there on TV, do you really give a shit if it's the backup quarterback at Tulane playing? Do you really care if Malik Murphy's not playing for Duke in their bowl game? No, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, oh shit, if you're betting or whatever your reason is, you love the program. Like, there's a bunch of good bowl games coming up, so playoffs are coming up. NFL, I mean, it's a football. It is a damn football feast, is what I call it.
Damn right it is. But yeah, I think this is gonna wrap up our show, everybody. We appreciate everybody that jumped in the comments. But if you don't catch our stuff, you can catch this on the audio side of things too as well. You can catch that over in Spotify, Apple, all those great formats over there. Make sure you follow us on X. And we do have a Instagram page over there. I haven't really done anything here lately with that, but maybe we'll pop a couple shorts out from this and whatnot, and we'll go from there. Wednesday, I'm not sure what we're going to do next Wednesday, but stay tuned for that. I think I know we might get the Squad Blitz. I might reach out to the Squad Blitz guys out there. That's another form of
waiting for
college
that
football too as well. It's a little bit different than actually doing the full roster of college. And yeah, got anything else?
No. Bless everybody. Have a good night. Much love. Yeah. You too, Big D, man. Have a good night. No comments on the Soto contract. I thought if anything, D would have said his final piece about the Soto contract, but maybe another time, another place. Maybe on your show. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I don't want to talk about baseball right now. I got to think about baseball too because I got dynasty. I have a dynasty league with Donovan. I have a dynasty league with Donovan. And hold to be fold, I actually won the Dynasty League, so I must be doing something right in baseball. So, but all right, guys, we're gonna get up out of here. Until next time, we will see you guys probably more likely next Wednesday. So, I'm Jamie. That's Eli. We're from Out of Rhythm. We'll catch you guys next time. Later.